It's time for a quick time update of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. The meeting was held on September 7th. With me is County Manager Larry Werner. I'm Lloyd Higuera, and we'll get to it, Larry.
All right.
Commissioners at their meeting on the 7th approved extending the contract for county manager services performed by yourself, Larry Werner.
They
you're going to
did.
be around for a while.
I am, hopefully. Yeah, it was very nice. I mean, I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the kind remarks. In extending the contract, I had talked to the board about that, and the concern is that actually my current contract would end December of this year, and we've just hired our assistant county manager, Brad Hurley, who will be coming on board September 18th, and trying to get timeframes to get him caught up to speed and kind of let him know what's going on around the county. The timing for him to be here, and if I was leaving in December, didn't make a lot of sense. Plus, we'd be in the middle of the budget session. So the idea was to extend it out. And initially, a couple of the board members had talked about to the end of December 2018, but then it was determined that, well, let's go ahead and take it December 2019, and I was fine with that. That's great. Appreciate that. That'll give me more time to work with Brad. He and I will work together for the first few months, trying to get a sense of what goes on, and then he and I will sit down and kind of sort out what role he plays with the county. How do we make that work? I'm looking forward to him being here. It's a fresh set of eyes, somebody who's actually not worked for local government, but understands, at least from the federal standpoint, how things do happen, and it'll be a fresh set of eyes. I think it'll be good.
Okay, very good. So new assistant county manager, and you'll be around for a good 2 more years.
Right.
Okay, excellent. Commissioners also at the meeting spent an hour and a half discussing approval of a master plan amendment which would have replaced the current 2007 Douglas County Transportation Plan with the 2017 plan, but commissioners decided not to adopt that resolution. So what happens now?
The issues that were relating to the transportation plan were kind of varied across the different commissioners, and one of the problems we had in trying to get resolution was really understanding what their concerns were. And even though we've had a couple of meetings on this, it still wasn't totally gelled into something that we could fix real quickly. So the question, I think the issue now is what we'll do is try to go out and develop some kind of a list, a document that identifies each commissioner's concerns, bring that back to the commissioners, have them vet those out and see what actually goes into the plan. This is an element of the transportation plan. We do have a little bit of time left before the whole master plan itself comes before the board, but hopefully we'll come to some kind of agreement on what the purpose of the plan is, what are the key elements in it, how all this works. But
So it needs a little more tweaking.
it does.
Okay,
It does.
and that's all part of the overall master plan. That'll go into the master plan.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Also, commissioners introduced an ordinance to allow open or subsurface mining subject to specific standards, and prohibited open or subsurface mining on agricultural, forest and range, and public facility zoning districts.
Right, and this was brought to the board mainly through citizen comments, concerns over the history that, or the issue that occurred several years ago relating to a request to do a gravel operation on the east side of the valley. In looking at that, it seemed to make sense that that would not be a permitted use in any particular zoning, specifically ag, forest, range, and public facilities as it exists today, but created into a more general industrial type zoning. Then somebody who would desire to put in a gravel operation, for example, would have to come to the county, get the zoning amended to general industrial, and then go through a special use permit to actually do the specifics of it. It gives a little more control to the county, a little more opportunity to work with the neighborhoods, to work with folks to make sure that what's being proposed isn't really detrimental to the area. It's another step, but I think it's probably an appropriate one. On the same hand, it does not impact agricultural uses. In the different parts of the code, anything related to land leveling, ditch digging, all that kind of stuff related to an agricultural use is exempted from these portions of the code. So as long as an ag rancher does not want to open up a commercial operation, this wouldn't impact them.
Okay, very good. Also, commissioners discussed a possible review of the current requirement that a proposed gaming establishment must include as part of the development plan no less than 100 guest rooms. And commissioners discussed that and then directed staff to meet with the stakeholders in this and then report back to the commission.
Right. This request had come to me through one of the commissioners. Commissioner Nelson had a request to revisit this part of the code to allow an establishment that had a restricted gaming license to go to unrestricted. To do that, the current code requires that you have 100 rooms available on that property. I brought this forward to the board to kind of get a sense of what they wanted to do. Did they, as the board, feel it was appropriate that we revisit this, or what were the issues out there? I think the final result is that we were directed to contact license holders that for gaming, ask them if there are things that the county does, regulations that we have in place that provide obstacles to them to appropriately operate their business. Are there changes we should make? Kind of get a sense of what the entire business community feels. If we do get a sense back that there are problems, then we would kind of detail that, bring it back to the board and see what they wanted to do. Or if we get the sense that, no, everybody's pretty happy with the way things are, then we also report that back to the board, but not recommend any kind of changes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Larry, for participating today in our quick time update of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. Larry Werner, our county manager. I'm Lloyd Higuera, and we'll see you next time on the Quick Time Update.